y'all. Welcome to another amazing episode of Real Women, Real Talk. I am your host, the fantabulous Shavon Carter, and I'm a facilitator for Real Women, and I am joined by the lovely.
I am Nikki Richardson, and I am the founder of Real Women. How are y'all?
Yes, we are Real Women Rock. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization that exists to create safe spaces for women to do real personal development work on themselves. And we will tell you more about who we are and what we have going on later in the episode. But right now, just sit back, relax, and enjoy this show. So, we want to start out with our very first segment, Real Talk. So, sister, how are you doing today? Real Talk.
Well, today happens to be Hump Day. Happy Hump Day. It may not be Hump Day when y'all are watching, but or listening, but I feel good. I'm over the hump of the week and
Yeah.
looking forward to the weekend. But I'm especially doing good because I was able to reflect on some of the things that have been working for me or that I've been doing well this year. I
Mhm,
happen to do that today, as a matter of fact.
mhm.
I tend to ruminate over the things that don't go well
Okay.
a
Mhm.
lot. And so today I just needed to pull up notes from those that I mentor because, in addition to doing the sister circles for real women, I mentor people, women especially, but men and women, both for the mentoring community that I started, but also I contract out with a couple of executive coaching firms as well.
Mhm.
And I was able to pull up notes just for reflection time. And I'm looking at dozens of people that I've been supporting over this year. Now that we are, by the time this is airing, I guess in November,
Mhm.
and just looking at all of the people and the progress that they're making. And I'm pulling up, okay, for last week, I met with so and so and so and so and so. Oh my gosh, I got to send them this, and they did this. And I'm looking at my screen of all of these people that I've been supporting, and I'm like, all right, take a moment, give yourself some kudos because you don't normally do this. You have
Yeah.
been doing the doggone thing, supporting some
Mhm.
people. So,
Yeah.
and then I had a conversation with somebody, and they were saying earlier today how they do something very similar to what they
Mm.
see me doing, but they do it under the umbrella of ministry and
Mm.
friendship. And so they never get paid for it. And
Okay.
so I was like, well, Lord, you helped me get over that hump because I used to do the same thing.
Right. Yeah.
But I now monetize my support of others. And
Mhm.
I just wanted to give myself that moment of a pat on the back, real talk.
Yeah. Cause you
Mhm.
are the real deal. Like, look, it's so funny because you do it so humbly, but you be booked and busy, sister. Like it seems like every weekend, oh, I'm speaking here, I'm at a conference. I'm like, she is doing the daggone thing. And I don't know
Yeah.
how you do it. Like you get it all done, but kudos to you for supporting people in that way, for seeing their progress, which means you're value added, you're making a difference. So yeah, kudos to you, and
Thank
I'm
you,
glad you're
sister.
able to celebrate yourself and pat yourself on the back because you're
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah.
thank you. It felt really good to look
Uh-huh.
back because I done told y'all on these episodes. I've spent a couple of
Mhm.
episodes like, oh, that didn't go well, that didn't go
Yeah.
well. And then we're doing these promos for the intensive. And I just had
Mhm.
to reflect during one of those promos and say, I'm not giving myself enough credit for taking the shot. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying? Like that's what we're
absolutely.
going to be talking about at the intensive. You're not going to make every shot that you take, but the
Yeah.
fact that I'm taking shots matters. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I love
Mhm.
that for you. I love it.
Yeah. Thank you. How are you?
Oh Lord. So once again, I am sniffing. My allergies are acting up. So that's been bothering me today. But outside of that, I am feeling great. I am gearing up to go to Florida. The time of this taping, I'm going tomorrow to my college homecoming. Yay! The
Yay!
Florida A&M University. We're having our homecoming this weekend. So excited. I haven't been since 2019. And usually, and before that, I hadn't been since I graduated because I was over homecoming after being there for so long and just experiencing all the crowds and traffic. I was like, you know what? I don't need that to go back. But I've been going back because my dance team, Venom Dancers, shout out to Venom Dancers
Bum,
at
bum,
FAMU.
bum, ba-da-da-da, bum, bum.
Yes, the dance team is celebrating 30 years this year, this weekend, and so we have our outfits together, and we are gearing up for some sideline routines and dancing in the parade. And we just got invitation for some of us to dance with the current dancers on the Pepsi sound stage after the parade. So yeah, so it's gonna
Hey.
be really fun. I'm looking forward to it. I get to connect with my college roommate, so it's gonna be fun. So
Oh,
that's
you're gonna have a blast.
I'm gonna have a blast.
Yeah.
And I'm going to Jacksonville tomorrow, so I'm going to my sister's Halloween party. So I get to do that tomorrow, and then I'll drive to Tallahassee for the homecoming. So yeah, it's a lot of festivities gonna be happening this weekend. I'm really excited.
Okay, I got so much to say about all of this.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
First of all, I'm gonna try not to forget everything, but first of all,
Uh-huh.
in our group chat, I got to see you already do your thing. I don't know whether you had already attended a Halloween party or whether you were just trying to get your outfit together,
Oh
but
no, that was that
child,
one this weekend. Yep, I went to one this weekend.
yes, baby
Sometimes you gotta pop
girl.
out and show people,
You
what I'm
gotta
working with,
tell them who you be. What? It was gorgeous.
Yes.
So looking forward to seeing a pic from this one.
Uh-huh.
Looking forward to that. And then my question is, you feeling good about the dance routine? I know you had a little angst about it. You ready to go?
Child, no, I got one dance routine, the the one that we're doing on the stage with the
Okay.
current dancers. I know that one because
Okay. Okay.
it's from when we were dancers. They still use some of the same moves, but we're gonna have a practice on
Mhm.
Friday night, so I'll be
Okay.
able to do some of them. But I say, I'm not gonna stress out. I just want to be there, and I'll just be doing some pom pom movement.
Ba, ba, ba-da-da.
Exactly.
Y'all don't know it, but this
Yes,
is
we
my
are
part.
doing
This is what I'm supposed to be doing back here.
exactly, exactly. And I know I'm not alone. Like my college roommate, she hasn't really had a chance to practice, so we just don't wing it. We just want to be there to have fun.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. The last thing you made me think of was so we talked about this before we started recording, but I
Uh-huh.
haven't been feeling well either. So
Yeah.
I had the sniffles this past
Mhm.
week and I went home because I spoke at home.
Uh-huh.
Hampton Roads, Virginia is where I'm from. So I stayed at my mom's.
Mhm.
My homecoming, Elizabeth City State University in North Carolina, is only
Uh-huh.
60 miles south of Tidewater.
Okay.
So I was supposed to be trying on Saturday to speak for the workshop, do the workshop
Uh-huh.
I was doing, and then go to homecoming after that. Girl, I was feeling so bad. I went, spoke, and then I got under my mama's bed, like just under the
No,
covers.
that's right. Oh my God.
I had to tell my line sister, I was like, I'm not coming. I'm not doing it. I'm
I'm not
sorry.
gonna make it.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna make it. So I miss my homecoming. But
Oh.
yeah, I'm so happy for you. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be great. Great, great,
Mm.
great. I need some fun. Anytime I can have some fun, I'm all for it. So yes, 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 yes. So before we get out of this real talk segment, I do have a question for you because we talk about this a lot in our group chat, and I wanted to bring this to our podcast talking about TV shows. So, sister, what TV show are you watching right now that just has you in a chokehold? Like you're all caught up in it.
Girl, you got time? We got time. So many. So let me tell you, because I run during the
Yeah.
day and during the
Hmm.
week, one of my favorite pastimes to unwind is to find a show. hopefully that I can binge watch and watch a
Okay.
couple of episodes. But
Uh-huh.
some of them, I happen to catch and get caught up in it, and then I gotta wait till next week because it's live. It's not all the episodes are not out yet. So
Mhm.
it's a couple. I'm gonna just go ahead and put it out there. We've talked about this one before
Yeah.
during the podcast, but Reasonable Doubt is
Yeah.
thebomb.com.
Fire.
I have seen all of the episodes now, but
Mhm.
I love a good. It puts me in the mind of Scandal
Mhm.
because the lawyer is fly as all get out.
Yes.
He is just
Yes.
dressing down. I love it for her.
Yeah.
And then the drama of it all. It's very as much as it is drama and fictional, it has some realistic tendencies that make me want to watch because
Yeah.
she's a real black girl in a
Mhm.
lot of ways.
Yep.
So that's one. There's one that is called High Potential. Have you heard of that
Okay.
one?
I never heard of that one.
Okay.
No.
So High Potential, I think especially you could get with
Okay.
because it's about this lady who middle class or not even middle class probably. She's like a waitress or does some odd job. She's a not a waitress. She cleans
Okay.
office buildings. She
Uh-huh.
cleans office buildings, but she has a sixth sense um, that she's real a high
Mm.
intellectual, and
Mhm.
she's cleaning a police station and happens to see one of those crime boards where they're trying to figure out solve the crime,
Oh,
and
uh-huh.
she fixes some stuff on it based on what she sees,
Oh.
and she ends up it turns out she comes up with the answer to who committed the crime.
Oh,
But
wow.
the way they find her is they go back on the cameras because they're trying to figure out who moved their
Who
stuff
did it?
around on their board. They go on
Uh-huh.
the cameras and see overnight she was cleaning and moved everything. So
Okay.
now she got this job solving these crimes. I love crime shows. So
Nice.
it's so good, so good. I love how smart she is,
Uh-huh.
and then the last one, I promise I'm done, is How to Die Alone. Have you seen that?
Mm-mm.
Oh, girl, I gotta add these to the group chat.
Oh,
What have I
girl.
been doing? So this one is about a black girl who is works for an airport, and she's just living her life, trying to be successful and do the things, and she's lonely in relationships.
Oh.
But there's a whole lot of stuff about relationships that has her lonely. So I got to
Mhm.
put that in the group chat. So Reasonable Doubt,
Okay.
High Potential, and How to Die Alone. I know you asked me for one, but that's my thing.
Okay.
What
Got
about
it.
you?
So Reasonable Doubt is definitely one of mine. I know that was one that y'all recommended, and I was hooked after the very first episode. So it is so good, and I'm so sad that season 2 is over and we have to wait. Hopefully they'll get renewed for another season. But yeah, because the way it ended, I'm like, oh my god.
Mm,
So
mm,
I want to see what's going to happen. But it's so relatable. It's so down to earth and really tells the black woman's story. Like I love that she's a professional and just the romantic pieces of it. So it's definitely one of my faves. And then one that I am really hooked on and I love it is Shrinking on Apple TV.
mhm.
Oh my goodness. So as a mental health clinician, I am so attracted to that show because it's about I think they are psychologists, but they are doctors and they're psychologists, but it's still some of the same language and dialogue. And you see some ethical concerns in there and all of
Mhm.
that. But it's so funny. Like the black girl that plays in that. Oh, she is so funny. I love
Hilarious.
her.
Mhm.
So yeah, so that's the show I'm hooked on right now. So I'm all caught up on that, just waiting for the new episode to air. So those
Let
are
me
my
ask you real quick about that. So,
uh-huh.
have you recently started watching that, or had you watched that season already?
I recently started watching it. Yeah. So like a couple of weeks ago, I started.
That is
Uh-huh.
so cool that you are
Yeah.
immersed in that world and you get to enjoy that. Because I'm gonna tell you, I saw it when
Yeah.
it first came out, which
Uh-huh.
has been a while, and
Mhm.
got hooked and went through the whole season. And
Yeah.
she's in her bag right now. She's
She
doing a lot of cool stuff.
is.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
is
So,
so funny. I love her
mhm.
sense of humor, and she's just seems like such a natural. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, that's my show for sure.
nice.
Okay, all right, y'all. So we would love to hear from you. Let us know what your TV shows are. What are you watching? So reach out to us, speakpipe.com/real women real talk, or you can email us at info@realwomenrock.org and tell us all about what you have going on.
Mhm.
Okay, sister. So are you ready for our deep dive conversation today?
Nope. But I'm gonna go there anyway.
Oh no, it's just so many things that we can so many places that we can go with this topic. But today for our deep dive, we're gonna be talking about in my feelings.
Mm, mm, mm.
And it's all about emotions. Like the H Town song says, all about emotions make you cry sometimes, baby. So yes, we're going to be talking about emotions today because like I said, I am in the mental health field and I am a big advocate of therapy anyway because of me going to therapy and seeing the changes that it's make in my life. But just reflecting on when I first started therapy, I didn't have an emotional vocabulary outside of happy, sad, angry. Like there wasn't a lot that I knew about emotions. And so my therapist gave me what is called, well, they have different names for it, but basically a wheel of emotions,
Mhm.
and it had like so many different names or categories of emotions. So when you think about like happy, there are so many different things that you can be feeling outside of just being happy. Like you can feel joy, curious, proud, satisfied. Like there are so many different labels that you can put on it just to help us understand who we are. So just to give you an example, I don't know if you can see that, but this is
Mhm.
called an emotion sensations wheel.
Mm.
And it has like the different emotions. And then on the outside, it says, what your sensations are. So, like, for
Wow.
example, if you're feeling electrified or jumpy, that could be connected to excitement.
Mm.
So,
Mhm.
those kind of things. So that's why I wanted to talk about emotions today because like me, a lot of us don't really have a large emotional vocabulary, right?
Mhm.
And usually it's because we weren't really given space to feel our emotions. So
Mhm.
I want to start with that question, sister. What were you taught about your emotions growing up?
Wow. This is so much. And to be such a feeling intuitive
Hmm.
person, you would
Yeah,
you would think, this stemmed from a wealth
right.
of background of knowledge, but no, I don't
It
think
did not.
I don't think I was actively taught much of anything about my
Okay.
emotions.
Yeah.
I will say I was allowed to emote,
Okay.
though. I was allowed to emote, different than maybe my brothers were. I think
Mhm.
my brothers were kind of given the notion, suck it up,
Yeah.
especially more so by maybe my father or the men in our lives. Our cousins were real rough with them.
Yeah.
Why are you crying? Suck it up, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
I wasn't given that kind of bullying type of thing,
Mhm.
but there was no explanation around either what I'm thinking or feeling, or dig deeper into that, or
Yeah.
ask to give an explanation or talk about what I was thinking or feeling. I
Mhm.
didn't experience any level of counseling or anything like that until my adult years,
Mhm.
where I chose to do that. And because most of my childhood is connected to church, um, any emotions that I shared, that I expressed in church, were welcome. Crying
Mhm.
tears of repentance or joy, shouting, being really happy and joyful in church.
Yeah.
Like, all of those were allowed, but there were not a whole lot of conversations about
Yeah.
them. So does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the similar situation for me, what's interesting was I was an emotional child, meaning that I felt a lot of emotions that I didn't know what to do with. So they came out as like mood swings or attitudes
Mhm.
or just shutting down because I didn't know what to do with all that I felt. So, what I was taught indirectly was to suppress anything that didn't feel joyful or happy, or like if I was going through something, it was just like, oh, you'll be fine, get over it type thing. Not
Mhm.
like that, not like, oh, get over it, but it was like it was always redirected to something happy.
Mhm.
So it
Mhm.
didn't, I wasn't allowed to feel all the things that I was
Yeah.
feeling. I didn't know what they were called. I just know that I didn't feel right inside.
Yeah.
Um,
Can I
and
add
then
to
that,
that when you're
uh-huh,
done? I'll wait
yeah.
till you're done.
But just when I think about what was modeled, like my grandmother was old school. So it was one of those things where you just keep it to yourself. If you're dealing with something, you don't share. And it's unfortunate that it came out now that I'm older. I understand that it came out in different ways. Like she had a nervous breakdown, lost all her hair,
Mm.
had not ulcers, but what do you call it? Shingles and just nerve related challenges. And I believe it's connected to she was holding in so much. So those are the kind of things that I grew up around. So my grandmother held everything in. My mom, she was a little sensitive, but I didn't have a tolerance for her emotions and she didn't have a tolerance for mine. So it was like we were not holding space for each other. Yeah, we were butting heads. I'm like, oh, why you crying all the time? And she'd be like, girl, suck it up. So, child, it was a mess. But yeah, so
Yeah.
that's what
Oh,
I was taught indirectly.
so good. You made me think about the one thing that would happen in church, or just because we were churchy,
Yeah.
that if negative things happened, or I mean, even grief, if
Yeah.
something happened that we didn't like and we were in our emotions negatively about it,
Hmm.
what I'm learning through a community that I'm a part of right now is it's called spiritual bypassing,
Yes.
where you would just, let's just get over it,
Yeah.
because God will fix it. God will work it out. God will do it. Have faith. Don't
Yeah.
worry about it.
Hmm.
And so that was something that I was allowed to emote,
Hmm.
but it was to get to the other side as quick as possible, to
Yes.
to the happier place. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's true. Mm.
Absolutely. Yeah. And for me, it was a lot of dismissing, like it felt dismissive. So that's what I was taught growing up. So, and we've talked about this a little bit. What were you given space to express your emotions as a child? And it sounds like you were given space to emote.
Yeah, I think I would say that's fair. I don't remember ever just being shut down when I
Yeah.
was feeling.
Hmm.
I probably tried to be more mature about my feelings than I needed to be,
Mm.
because I noticed things, not knowing it then, but I'm an empath. And so I would know without my mother even trying, I would know when she was going through something. And so
Mm.
I'm going to try to be okay, or I'm going to try to make sure my brothers don't get on her nerves that much, that much that night, because she's got some stuff going on. So I probably did a little bit more of self-managing
Mm.
than not being given space.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. What
Uh,
about you?
so for me, I don't feel like I was given space to
Mm,
emote, and when I did, like I said, it would come out as quote unquote negative reactions. And so it would be, I would be playing with my cousin and then I would feel something and then I would shut down and then I would get in trouble for mistreating my cousin. And
Mm,
then so when it came to emotions, I always felt like something was wrong with me because
mm,
I would always get in trouble. Like if I did have some type of emotion, I was wrong for
mhm,
feeling it. If I had an
mhm,
attitude or you're not talking, well, probably because something was wrong with me, and I didn't have anyone who understood that in my life to ask me what was going on to help me kind of process through it. And so when it came to expressing my emotions, it just always made me feel like I was wrong. Like
mhm,
that was the connection that I
mm.
made. So I would just kind of hold it in. Yeah.
I am so sorry.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
hearing something like that, I will say this though, there was in childhood, in mine anyway, there was a level of respect
Mhm.
I and most people I knew my age were supposed to have for adults
Mm.
that I was allowed the spectrum of emotions of happy, sad.
Okay.
But when you get into like mad or,
Yeah.
that kind of thing, that's disrespectful if
Yeah.
especially if it's directed in the wrong direction,
Right.
right?
Right.
So that would be shut down fast. Like
Mhm.
I know you ain't got your face twisted and turned
Right.
up at me,
Right.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I just I know in my head and in my heart now I leave a whole lot more room
Yeah.
for young people in general, but especially my children to emote and share their feelings, even if they border on mad or angry, because I know what it felt like not for that to be shut down or to be seen as disrespectful when I'm
Yeah.
just feeling some things. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's I think that's something that's just coming to me now that you're sharing.
Mhm. And that's why I wanted to talk about this because things that have happened in our childhood, we carry that into adulthood, especially when it comes to emotions. And I'm just curious, sister, why do you think there is such a negative stigma around emoting and expressing ourselves and really being one and embracing all the ranges of our emotions?
Yeah, so I think it's layered.
Uh-huh.
One, I think it's a sign of weakness to some people,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
That you don't have the strength and the shoulders, your shoulders aren't big enough to carry whatever you're
Yeah.
dealing with. And I would say that it's genderized in
Mm.
most circles where men are expected to emote less than women.
Yeah.
But I would also say it's not just genderized, but it's colorized because Black women are expected to shoulder more than women, maybe of other races,
Yeah.
especially stereotypically than white women. And
Uh-huh.
so I think there's this expectation that you're supposed to be able to manage without having the tools or the learning to do the self management,
Mhm.
and so it's seen as a sign of weakness. I also think that on some level, when we emote, it's seen as not dealing with the problems, right? I'm
Mm.
wallowing in the problem and
Yeah,
not moving toward the fix it. And
yeah,
so um, I think about some people could grieve, but we don't want them to grieve too long, or
yeah, uh-huh,
there might come a point where we're like, okay, you haven't gotten over that relationship yet,
uh-huh,
or
yeah,
that person passed away, so we
mm,
put these time parameters on it because we want you to get to the other side, which
right,
means you're done emoting those deep emotions and
mm,
moving into a better place. So those are the big two for me.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I agree with all of those things, and I also think that it's just uncomfortable. Like,
Mhm.
when you think about, depression, when you're feeling sad or gloomy or blue, especially those types of emotions, it just doesn't feel like you're making progress. It doesn't feel productive. It doesn't feel good. Because
Mhm.
who wants to walk around feeling sad all day? And so I think that's also another reason why we try to avoid or distract from feeling because it doesn't feel pleasant.
Yeah. Can
Um,
can I say something about that?
uh-huh.
The uncomfortability oftentimes is not just our uncomfortability.
Yeah.
Sometimes feeling our feelings makes it awkward for people around us.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
so we tend to, like you said about your grandmother, we tend to
Yeah.
hold it in and not deal with it and
Uh-huh.
not emote because we don't want other people around us to feel uncomfortable either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
you know what's interesting about that? So we're talking about like the sadness and the depression, but there are some people who don't even know how to feel happy or
Child.
joyful or excitement. Like there's a fear or a discomfort even with that, maybe because their past has been so traumatic or they have just been taught not to get happy because something else is going to happen as soon as you feel happy. So the fear of disappointment. So yeah, there's that too.
This is why I didn't want to get into this daggone topic
Yeah.
because I knew ish was coming up. I knew it was
Yes,
gonna come up.
yes.
So you just made me think about something, and while I'm sharing this, I'd like for you to look and see if there's anything on your wheel connected to pride or being, I don't mean in a bad way, I mean being proud of yourself or
What's
something.
the sensation? Like what would you say yeah, the proud, I see proud. Yeah, I see.
Okay, good, good, good. Okay. So what let me share it and then you tell me like what's connected to it, maybe some
Okay.
feelings or emotions
Uh-huh.
because what you just made me think about was um I didn't want to cry for this. God
It's emotions. Yes, this is perfect, right? Yes. Emote. Here's your space. Let's do it.
dang, emote. You see, I'm trying to deflect and
Yeah.
bring some humor
Using
to it.
humor. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Because in my childhood, one of the things that I recall is not trying not to be too proud of myself or
Uh-huh.
trying not to be too happy about my successes
Yeah.
around other people.
Yeah.
And the language I have used in my coming to a greater level of awareness, especially through real women, is that I would dim my light around others
Yeah.
and do my best not to shine as brightly because I didn't want not only to make them feel uncomfortable, but I
Uh-huh.
didn't want them to feel I was prideful or boastful or arrogant. And some of that I learned in church, be meek and humble
Yeah.
and practice humility. And so I translated that to say, don't brag on myself or don't be too happy. But what that did was that disconnected me from the real joy I
Yeah.
could have tapped into about certain things happening in my life. I
Yeah.
could be really proud with my mom. I could be
Yeah.
really proud with some family members.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I couldn't really shine as bright or feel as proud or as joyful
Mhm.
about certain things because I felt that I couldn't
Right.
because it would make others uncomfortable. And I did experience on some level, I experienced jealousy or envy or people not liking me seemingly for no reason. And the
Yeah.
only thing I could contribute to it or attribute to it was that I was being singled out a lot or I was being
Mhm.
asked to stand out a lot at church.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff would happen, girl. My godparents slash great aunt and uncle were the pastor and first lady of the church. And
Mhm.
anytime I did something well at school, it had to be broadcast on Sunday morning. And if I was Miss Homecoming, I had to come in the dress, the
Oh
crown,
my
and the
God. Are
sash
you
and show
serious?
that this is what happened, girl. It was a wonderful,
Yeah.
empowering thing for me
Yeah.
personally. But
Yeah.
can you imagine the
Right.
hate,
All those people
oration?
looking at you. Right. Yeah.
So it was it was a catch 22, a good and bad thing. But
Yeah.
you just brought all of that back to me that
Mhm.
Yeah. So is there an emotion connected to pride or being proud?
Yeah, so it's under happy,
Okay.
and it's connected. Yeah, it's connected to happy.
Okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
and
Because I was
it's
thinking like
proud.
joyful was a word that came to mind for me.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, and
Yeah.
happy, that
Yep.
was stifled a bit. Yeah. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Mhm.
It's perfect for this.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is another area, and I have a similar story to you of dimming my light, being taught that or interpreting that I needed to do that when I had some issues in elementary school with this one girl. It was almost like we were in competition, or she was in competition with me because I wasn't competing with her. But
Mhm.
if she would always point out like, "Oh, my ponytail is longer." If I had my hair to the side or something, like she was trying to compete with me about what we looked like. And it was
Mhm.
just like, well, I don't want to do that. And then I ran into some issues with some girls in sixth grade where it just seems like there was some jealousy or whatever. So I internalized, oh, I have to shrink to fit in because I don't want to stand out because that feels uncomfortable and everybody's gonna be whatever.
Yep.
So yeah, so I definitely get that. So
Mhm. Mhm.
ooh, child, all about emotion. So let's talk about now. So we've talked about what were you taught, were you given space to express them. But when you think about your emotions now and when they surface, how do you handle them? Like how what have do you find yourself giving yourself space or do you suppress?
Hmm. Um, I manage better. I can't say I've mastered it, but
Okay.
I manage better when and how I emote.
Okay. Got it. Uh-huh.
Um, I know up here that I shouldn't hold it in.
Hmm.
Um, I probably do, um, probably more in my marriage than anywhere,
Hmm.
only because I know how just speaking and responding out of my emotions, if either one of us does that, we're
Uh-huh.
comfortable enough with each other after 25 years where
Yeah.
we will give each other the real and the raw, and it may not be received as well by
Yeah.
him, or I may not receive his real and raw as well. So
Mm.
we've learned to manage with each other in the moment. Okay,
Mhm.
so I can't I can't like kirk out the way I want to. So let
Yeah.
me figure out how I want to say this.
Yeah.
So that's probably where I've learned to and I wouldn't call that suppression. I feel like it's management.
It's management. Yeah. Hmm.
Um but then the flip side of that is I know where I can go to let it all hang out.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah.
I have very safe spaces where I can just let it go.
Mhm.
I love that I have gone, and I hope I'm gonna make her listen to this one. I love that I have transitioned from just a mother-daughter relationship with my mom to us
Yeah.
being girlfriends,
Yeah.
because I can emote with my mother.
Yeah.
And so that feels really good to be
Mhm.
able to do. And then I have my inner sister circle
Yeah.
where I and we it's so funny that we all kind of say this. Okay, so I was waiting to get this all out when I was with y'all.
Right.
So so I'm ready to get all of this out right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know where I can go to emote. So I may and I do with myself too.
Mhm.
I if I need to cry, I make space and room for that for myself. If I need
Yeah.
to journal, I make room for that.
Mhm.
In this season, I have done a little less counseling, um,
Mhm.
just because of the busyness of life, but I've put
Mhm.
it back on my agenda to get back to,
Yeah.
um, and have started looking for a new counselor just so that I can vent, emote, express myself, and reflect, and
Mhm.
all of that there. But if I had to say how I manage, I would say, or how I'm dealing with them now, I do
Mhm.
let them surface. It's just a matter of when and with whom.
Yeah, got
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Mhm.
I have gotten so much better with
Mm,
expressing my emotions. Like I
mm,
really am proud of the progress that I've made. And there's also a default setting where it's just
mhm,
like, nope, not doing it
mhm,
right now, you know? So it's like, it's funny how I notice when I'm comfortable. And a lot of times, like you said, if I'm in a safe space, then I'm more prone to just really allow my authentic emotions to come out. But I'm very protective of my emotions as well. So if I don't feel like this is a space where I can just let it out, then I won't. But I do allow myself when I'm in here by myself, we gonna get it in. Like I just feel there's so much more capacity to be with my emotions. I would say the range of emotions, whether it's happy, sad, confusion, excitement, disappointment, all the things. Like I really feel like I have more capacity to tolerate and be with my emotions, and that makes me excited because I know how it used to be. Yes.
Having known you for just a little while,
Just a little while. You have over a
just a little
decade. Yes.
while, I just want to say ditto to that. Be it is really in a space of applauding you because
Yeah.
it takes real work. First of all, I know that for many women listening, including
Mhm.
us, um, it takes a while to find a safe space.
Yeah.
And even when we find a safe space, we have to get over the hump of saying, I don't want to bother them.
Yeah.
I know they're dealing with their own stuff.
Yeah.
All of those things that allows us to release at some
Mhm.
point. And
Mhm.
so the fact that you have given yourself permission to
Yeah.
lean on
Uh-huh.
someone's and to make space for that and not just kind of deal with it yourself. I
Yeah.
think, kudos to you. I love it.
Yay,
You've been doing
yay
good.
me.
Yay, you.
Yes, I'm really just kind of leaning into that vulnerability more and just releasing myself from having to do it all, and that really feels good. And just so blessed that I do have a safe space that I can do that in with
Mm.
my sister. So yes. Um, so the last thing I do want to ask before we go into our next segment is how can we enhance our relationship with our emotions? So if we have some people watching this and it's like, well, that's great for y'all, but I'm not comfortable. I've been burned by people. I can't trust people. Like, and I've been taught, and like you said, it's a sign of weakness if I express myself, and people have taken advantage of me and just having some negative experience about with their emotions and when they do express themselves. How can people enhance their relationship with their emotions?
Yeah. Um, hmm. So I would suggest a great place to start is to be there for someone else emotionally.
Ah, okay.
Let me just frame that. If we are not comfortable yet
Mhm.
risking being vulnerable with someone else,
Yeah.
allowing ourselves to feel what it's like to be there for someone else in
Uh,
a very safe way, non-judgmental, allowing them to emote. It might be a young person in your life that teenagers are good for just shutting down and
yeah.
they don't talk to anybody else. So to be
Mhm.
able to be a safe space for a younger person in your life, maybe it's someone that um, you could or would open up to you, and
Mhm.
you just want to check in on them and see how they're doing, and
Yeah.
or someone it happens that, unfortunately, all of us get to see or hear about or experience tragedy either directly or indirectly, we know people who are going through something. So
Mhm.
to reach out to a person who's going through something and just, say, I wanted to reach out just to
Mhm.
see how you are doing. And if I can help, just be an ear for you. How are you
Mhm.
feeling about this? I'll give you an example. A girlfriend of mine, and it's a great reminder for me, has over time gotten comfortable reaching out to let me know some stuff is happening in her relationship.
Mhm.
So recently, she reached out to say, we've got these things happening. I don't want to be too specific, but we've got some things happening soon, like
Mhm.
today. So
Mhm.
what I can do is practice the muscle of being there for someone by checking in with her to say, how did it go, and
Mhm.
how are you feeling about how it went?
Mhm.
That practice, one, allows us to feel how comfortable that could possibly be for someone else to be there for us,
Mhm.
while at the same time, it allows us the space of feeling the good feelings of being there for someone, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I say start there if you're uncomfortable emoting, because that could very well be a person who could be there for you when
Mhm.
you need it. Perhaps, maybe you can more strategically or rationally think about who you reach out to, so that it could be someone who could reach out to you. So
Yeah.
that would be one place I would say starting. And then the other thing I would say, we've talked about this in previous episodes, I would say start off by writing your emotions down to yourself.
Mhm.
A lot of people call it journaling, and that's either looked at with a lot of love, or, some people are like, journaling, not my
Yeah.
thing. So I would rather call it just writing your feelings out.
Mhm.
If you're not comfortable sharing them with anybody.
Mhm.
I used to write because there was a book that talked about morning pages, and I would start by writing in the morning. I don't have anything to write about. I don't know what I'm thinking right now.
Mhm.
I'm really not feeling much right now.
Yeah.
And until I would get to the point, I guess I'm thinking about my dad, or I guess I'm thinking
Mhm.
about my relationship.
Yeah.
And okay, so what am I thinking about that? And sad, happy, mad would turn into, okay, what's under that, or why am
Yeah.
I thinking that? So those are
Mhm.
the two places I would start,
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
enhance your relationship. Maybe doing some writing
Yeah.
about your feelings and what's going
Mhm.
on, and trying to be there for someone else emotionally.
Yeah. Yeah. I love those. Um, So I would definitely say this is where putting in the plug for real women comes in, especially for
Mhm,
the ladies that are watching this, because that taught me so much about the importance of expressing emotions and being vulnerable.
mhm,
And the space was such a space of safety and non judgment that it was modeled for me over time, that I would be okay
mhm,
expressing myself. And so I think just being in an environment where you can see the authenticity, where you can be around like-minded women who are just really there to figure themselves out, is
mhm,
so freeing and empowering at the same time. So definitely, if you have not connected with us, if you're just learning about us from watching this, check out our website, realwomenrock.org, to find out how you can attend our sister circles, both in person and virtually. Even if you are way in Texas, California, you can join us every month for one of our virtual sister circles, just so that you can be connected and be in a space. And it always happens. Somebody is on the line and saying, I wasn't going to say anything. I was just going to be quiet. I was just here to observe. And then you feel compelled to say something because there's such a sense of safety and
yeah,
non-judgment. And so I would just say start there, and I'm gonna always say it, go to therapy, right?
mhm,
But I know that can be such a cliche thing to say, and I know some people have had negative experiences with therapists, right? Because all therapists are not created equally. However, we are trained to be there for you. Like that's our job. We are there to put our stuff to the side so that we can listen and reflect things back to you and help you to see yourself even more and just to create that space for you to emote and process. So if you haven't had a good opportunity or a good experience with one, just try to find another one, because all of them is some really great therapists out there, right? And so if you need some recommendations, feel free to reach out to us at info@realwomenrock.org, and we will point you into the right direction because yes, it's just so important. So yeah.
Can I echo a couple of things?
Uh-huh.
Just yes, yes, yes to a counselor, a good one, finding a match, doing some consultations
Yeah.
for, the 15, 20 minutes that they give you to see if it's a good match.
Yeah.
Um, I wanted to say something about Real Women since you did that beautiful plug. Um, that we are so intentional about making space for that,
Mhm.
because my default, like you said, my default setting when we first started Real Women
Yeah.
was to do some spiritual bypassing. Like
Yeah.
the very first session, or sister circle of Real Women, it was more of a worship service than it
Right.
was a sister circle.
Mhm.
And I was just, you can do it, walk on water, like you can,
Mhm.
all of those things. And
Mhm.
right in the middle of it, it didn't feel right.
Right.
It felt like this is not supposed to be that. You can get
Mhm.
that anywhere. This
Mhm.
is supposed to be the place where you deal with the not feeling like you can walk on water so that
Mhm.
you can actually move in a real practical way into
Right.
those next steps.
Yeah.
So we are just so intentional about that. I
Mhm.
can't just echo enough how true that is, that we are
Mhm.
a safe space for that. So thank you for that.
Yeah. And I will say when we see it happening, we address it right then. Like we have had women who that's just a part of their makeup, their default setting. And so they come in not being able to separate that and just to kind of be there in the space. And so we will address that so that we can make sure that every woman, even them, feels
Mhm.
comfortable and not using the spiritual bypassing and letting women just be with their emotions in that space. So yeah.
Mhm. So true.
Yes, 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 yes. So thank you for this conversation about in my feelings because I think it's an area that is really challenging, especially in our culture. Like we're not taught to be with our feelings. Like we're really not, and it's a cultural thing, and it's just something that we just I really encourage us to find capacity to be with our emotions a little bit more because that will help heal so much in our lives, relationship challenges, like popping off on people, just because it's chaos in here because we don't know how to just sit with ourselves for a minute and check on ourselves and see what's going on. So yeah,
So
it's
true.
projected outward. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to highlight how important it was what you did with with this segment, because we've each given two very practical tools to help
Yeah.
you move through this. But in
Mhm.
addition to that, you showed that wheel of emotions,
Yeah.
and look that up. Just you
Mhm.
can Google that to find that so that you can start naming what you're
Mhm.
feeling. And I
Yeah.
just wanted to offer, there's an app, they are not sponsoring us yet, but there's an app called How We Feel.
Mhm.
This app is amazing, and it's
Yeah.
free because you get to check in, you get to set your check-ins, and
Mm,
when you check in, you get to say how I'm feeling at this point.
mm,
And then based on how I'm feeling, where am I when I'm feeling this? Who am
mm.
I with when I'm feeling it? And what am I doing when I'm
Yeah.
feeling it? And then get to look back and say, whenever I'm with this person,
Uh-huh.
I'm feeling this, or
Right.
whenever I'm at work, I'm feeling
Mhm.
stressed out, and it's a
Yeah.
wonderful tool. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that not only do we just talk about this stuff, but we've given a lot of practical tools so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So for the sake of time, I'm gonna skip our next segment, which is put myself
Mhm.
in her shoes because we had such a fruitful discussion
I believe.
and in my feelings, which I love. So we're just gonna mosey on into our spiritual nuggets, sister. So
Mm.
what with all of this beautiful discussion about feelings, what do you want to leave with our listeners and watchers today?
Whew. Um, the biggest thing that comes up for me is empathy
Mhm.
supports us in our emotional expression.
Mhm.
So, empathy is when we dare to help or to feel what others are feeling. And so, as we are trying to navigate our own emotional space, practicing empathy
Mhm.
and daring to be there for, just present for, or understanding of, and not judging other people's feelings
Mhm.
will help us more easily express and give space and grace for our own emotions.
Yeah.
So be there, be as present as you can be for those around you and their emotions, and
Mhm.
thereby you give grace and space for your own.
Yeah, yeah. I
Mhm.
love that. Um, what's coming up for me is practice integration, not eradication.
Mm, mm, mm,
And what I mean by that is there are times when we can be feeling something and we just want it to go away.
mm,
We don't want to deal with those emotions. We label them as bad or inconveniences or something that we want to get rid of, as opposed to increasing our capacity to be with how we feel and integrating all parts of us, allowing ourselves to be sad and depressed and discouraged and disappointed, because that is a part of the human experience.
mm,
It is
mm,
human for you to feel a range of emotion. We are not one dimensional people. We are multifaceted.
mm,
So we're all the colors. If you're watching this, I'm pulling up the emotion sensations wheel. All the colors on this wheel we will experience at some point. So allow yourself to be human. It's okay. You feel, humans feel, and that
mm.
is that is our right. So yeah, integration,
Human,
not eradication.
humans feel.
Humans feel. Yeah,
Mm, mm,
period.
period. I love that.
I
Thank you for
love it.
that. Mm,
Yes, yes, yes. So y'all, we are Real Women Rock. And if you have enjoyed this, go to our website, www.realwomenrock.org. Learn about us, find out about our intensive, which is coming up in a few weeks. At the airing of this, we only have a few more weeks left before we're going to get together, and there is still time to register. Like, you can still join
mhm,
us by visiting our website. This year's theme is the Win Her Circle, the road to capturing the goal. And it's going to be November 22nd through the 24th in Cambridge, Maryland at the Hyatt Regency Chesapeake. A beautiful resort and spa, beautiful grounds, a beautiful area that you can just relax. You can connect with other women. You can practice some of the things that we're talking about by emoting and just being in a space with like-minded women who are just trying to be better individuals themselves, and learn how to embrace being a win her. So we
mhm.
would love for you to come and join us. So, like I said, visit our website, realwomenrock.org / intensive for more information. So, yeah.
Mhm. This was
This has been
good,
so
sister.
good, sister. Yes. Love,
Mm,
love, love our discussions and these conversations. So thank you all for tuning in. We have enjoyed you. And yeah, just be kind to yourself, be compassionate, embrace who you are, and know that humans feel. All
mhm.
right. Bye, y'all. See you next
Okay.
time.
Bye, y'all.